The effects of climate change are weighing on the U.S. wine industry. A new report expressed concerns over water availability for vineyards and stated a recession in the industry is possible.
For more on this, we welcome Tor Kenward. He's the founder of Tor Wines and author of this book, Reflections of a Vintner. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate this.
Thank you.
I want to start with asking you a bit about the science here. So what do we know about how climate change actually does impact wine production and quality?
Well, I think the two big points here are drought. We've been in a 15-year drought in California. We're still in a drought after all this weather that we've had since January this year. We were, what was it, about 99% of California was in a severe drought up until January.
Wow.
We're about 49% severe drought now after all this weather. So you have drought. And then the other big issue dealing with climate change and growing grapes, wine country, is fire. And fires affected us 2 big years in 2017, 2022, devastating for the Napa Valley area. And then you take it to a global viewpoint, and just a couple weeks ago, a month ago, Chile had tremendous wildfires that devastated the country. Australia, Bordeaux last year. So, you know, between drought and fire and the other issues that we're dealing with climate change, I've been a vintner, a winemaker for 50 years, and it's changed the landscape.
So, you know, somebody who spent a third of my life in France and have family in Languedoc, I know how climate can play a role in not just the region, but whether or not different vineyards have different productions. What has that done in Napa with this crazy weather that we've been having, which is a result of climate change, and how is that increasing or perhaps decreasing competition among the vineyards?
Well, you know what? Fundamentally, what the wine industry, it's not a siloed industry. It's an industry, if somebody's in trouble, everybody gets together, and it's a community type of industry. So what I've seen since, let's use 17 or 22 was, or 20 was the big year, I would say you had wineries that lost a facility, lost product, lost barrels, lost homes. The whole community got together to help those people. So I do not see it that somebody's losing competition. I see it actually in a more positive way. I've seen the industry get together and support each other in ways that I hadn't seen for 50 years. So it's a fascinating business. It's a people business. It's a relationship business. And Napa Valley is very small. It's only 4% of the wine that's made in California. So, but it's an area that when it's faced with a big problem like fire and drought and so on like this, we tend to get together and support each other. So I don't look at it that somebody's losing a part of the market. I see it as we're all losing a little part of the market, or we're all getting back together and gaining a larger part of the market.
Tor, it's also a business that's so rooted in tradition. I wonder if practices are changing to sort of deal with the climate change?
That's a great question, because they are dramatically. Vineyard probably number one, what we're doing in the vineyard. So you're looking at rootstock now that's drought resistant, and everybody's putting in drought resistant. You're doing shade cloth, there's misters. I even read about some people experimenting right now with spraying a cement-based type of sunscreen into the fruit zone in the vines, and it's organic. But I mean, they're looking at all kinds of ways to mitigate what we're facing with some of this climate change.
But so then that brings up another interesting question, which is for those vineyards that are able to implement some of these changes due to climate change, what about those who are smaller who can't implement? Are we in danger of losing some of the more smaller vineyards?
Yeah, I think that's always a threat. Yeah. But again, and I really mean this because I've been a vintner in this one area, Napa, and I've traveled the world, spent a lot of time in France, is that it's an industry, again, that doesn't silo as much as maybe some other industries, tech, for instance, possibly, but it's an industry that gets together and really supports. So the little guy that's getting beaten up usually gets a lot of support from somebody bigger that's maybe, and it's not so much that, okay, you had fire damage, let's get you out of the picture. It's more like, you've got fire damage, what can we do to help you? So the competition thing is, to me, an industry thing, not one particular. I worry about the people in Chile right now.
Right.
That was devastating. And I'm seeing vintners from other parts of the world going down and trying to help those in Chile.
And you're also hearing, Tor, about people who are mixing grapes now. They're changing the recipe to deal with the impact of climate change. Is that going to change the taste?
I love changing changing the recipe.
I have my favorites, but I'm just worried here.
You can tell her, she's like, because I like my wine the way I like it.
I like an oaky shard.
All right. So if it's probably, I assume you like good wine, and
doesn't everyone say that?
Well, some people. I hate to say this, but when you fly an airline, which I did last night over here, I don't drink really good wine on that airline, but. Good wines, the recipe's not going to change. Some of the ways that we grow grapes and get them to the winery will change. But what happens at the winery really won't change. The recipe's intact. You don't have to worry about that so much. One interesting little piece of technology that's come in the last 20 years is optical sorters. So let's say you have a little warmer harvest out there and you have some grapes that might be a little bit past that point that you want to put into your wine. You have an optical sorter now that is so precise, it tosses out any grape that you don't want. So you could make an argument the recipe might even get better with some of the technology that we have. But I guarantee you, at least with the people that I work with, your recipe's not going to change.
Okay, that makes me feel better. You got robots to help with everything these days. We're fine.
Well, the question isn't so much, doesn't everybody like good wine, is whether or not people can identify if a wine is good or not.
Yeah.
That's the big question.
Well, you grew up probably having wine at the table.
Yeah, every night at home. Tor, thank you for coming in, and thanks for the
Yeah,
book.
it's a beautiful book.
you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.